Hello, welcome to this online training. We're so excited to have you here. It's for MindTap, and it's titled Adding plus Moving plus Hiding plus Reordering equals Learning Path Customization. So we are muting your lines. If you have any questions during the presentation, please insert them in the chat, and we'll try and answer them during the presentation. If not, we will definitely follow up after this training and get back to you. We're also recording this, so we will send that recording of this after as well. So let me go ahead and introduce you. So myself I am your moderator, Lauren McMahon, and I am a marketing coordinator here at Cengage Learning on the Digital Solutions team. So any questions, put them in the chat. I'll be there answering them. And your presenter today is Rivera. He is our senior digital educator here at Cengage. So he's going to introduce himself and then go through some objectives and then go straight into MindTap. So Greg, if you want to take over.
Sure. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So yes, thanks, Lauren. I am a senior digital educator with Cengage Learning. I have a unique role. Actually, my team has a unique role in the publishing industry because all of us come from academia. So all of us have been instructors, coordinators, administrators, even some of us. And my background is a couple things. One of them is Spanish. That's my main discipline. But I've also been teaching college success for the last, I'd say the last 12 years. Mostly online. So in the last couple years with MindTap, so I'm very familiar with the technology. So the great thing about my role and the fact that I still teach is that not only do I know the technology from, the publisher's perspective, but I also know it from the instructor's perspective. So I'm excited today about showing you some of the cool things that you can do with MindTap, being able to personalize your course. So today we're going to focus on just a few things that you can do with MindTap. There are so many things that you can do to personalize and customize, but we're only going to focus on showing you how to hide, move, reorder items. I'm going to show you how to rename some of the folders or the units. And then finally at the end, to add a real touch of personalization or customization, I'm going to show you how to add either your own activities or web links or videos right into the learning path. So just so you know, most of what I'm going to be doing, in fact, the rest of what I'm going to be doing is going to be live into MindTap. So, so Lauren, if you want to go ahead and give me.
All right, I'm passing the ball to you, Greg.
Yeah, all right, guys. All right, so let me share my screen with you. All right. And I'm assuming that you can see the learning path for the MindTap on the screen.
Yeah, I see that.
So, great, thanks. So I'm going to be using just for demo's sake, I'm going to be using Becoming a Master Student. So, before we get started and before I show you, one of the great things about MindTap is that because it already has a unique learning path, and just so you know that each book, each program has its own unique learning path and own unique content. But just because it already has a unique learning path, it's already set up to be used as is. So if you're not super comfortable with technology, the good news is you don't have to do a thing. But if you're like me, you may not want to use all of the content that's in a chapter or in the textbook, or you may not want to cover it in the exact order that it's already there, I should say. So again, the good news is that the learning path is customizable, and this is the important thing, you don't have to be tech savvy to make some changes and to personalize your course. So in this next, 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how to hide, unhide, move, reorder, and add items in the learning path. Okay, so like I said, you know, you may not want to cover all of the chapters or all of the content that is in your book. And, you know, I'll give you myself as an example. The course that I teach is 1 credit hour. There is no way that in 1 credit hour I'm going to be able to cover 12 chapters. So the other thing that I consider when looking and hiding and deciding on what content I'm going to use is the student learning outcomes for my course. So the reality is that some of the student learning outcomes don't coincide with some of the chapters that are in the book. So those are some reasons and some ideas as to why you might want to hide some items. So let's go down to the bottom here, and because of the 1 credit hour and because of the student learning outcomes, I would not cover chapters 10, 11, or I should say I don't cover chapters 10, 11, and 12 in my course. So let me show you how easy it is to hide these chapters. Now, why would I want to hide them? I mean, the students have access to them in their print book, but in the digital, this, what's the word I want to use? This reminds them that we are not going to be covering this content. I think it just makes it a cleaner look. So if I hover over chapter 10, if you look on the right-hand side, there are 2 little icons. One is a pencil, and one is like a circle with a slash through it. And we'll come back to the pencil, but the circle with the slash is the hide button. So I want to show you how easy it is to hide an item. All you have to do is go over to the circle with the slash, click on it. Uh-oh. Well, that's fun. Let me get back into the course. Sorry about that. Let's try this one more time. All right, so again, there we go. Sorry about that. I must have timed out. So as you can see, all I did was click on that 0 with a slash, and it automatically hid the that unit from my students. And you can see right here, it even says hidden from students. It's grayed out. So if I want to repeat that for chapters 11 and 12, you see that with 1 click, you can hide units in the chapter, or excuse me, in the learning path, so that your students don't have to see it. So to me, one of the most awesome things about customizing or being able to customize MindTap in the learning path is the fact that you don't have to go into something called settings or control panel, find what you need, the chapter that you need, go in, hide it, go in, save it. All you have to do is a 1-click process to hide material. So, you know, later on in the semester, you may want to unhide things. So let's say, for example, you know, even though I hid chapter 12, maybe towards the end of the course, I may want to unhide that chapter because I want students to be able to think about the next steps in their college career and in college success in general. So I can go back to the unit chapter 12, and notice now how it's not the circle with the slash through it, but now it's a little I, which means that it will, when I click on it, now it will show. So I could reopen any unit that I've hidden anytime I want with 1 click, just like I used 1 click to hide it. You know, the other reason that you might want to hide items, specifically chapters or even activities, and I'll show you that in a minute, is you may want to hide and you may want to release as you go. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is at the beginning, you may just want, maybe the first week you just want Chapter 1 to show, and then later you want Chapter 2 to show or Chapter 3 to show based on where you are in the textbook, in the program as the weeks progress. So you can do that as well. So that may be another reason why you want to hide and units. Now you can do that exactly like I showed you by just clicking the hide button, but I'll show you in a minute as well that you can put dates in into the units and into the activities so they open or close whenever you want them to as well. And they will show as hidden until the open date is there. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to tell you is that, you know, one of the things that I do with my course when I customize it is I don't necessarily always cover the material in the order that is in the textbook. And I'll give you an example with Becoming a Master Student with this textbook. So Chapter 3 on memory, I actually prefer to use that chapter down closer to Chapter 7 on thinking. So let me show you how I can actually move Chapter 3 in memory down to be closer to Chapter 7. So if you remember, I showed you how to hide with the 0 with a slash or the circle with a slash through it. Right next to it is a little pencil, and that's gonna allow us to do several things. And one of the things it's gonna allow us to do is to move items. So you can see when I click on the pencil, there's certain information here, the title. I can add a description. I told you just a minute ago that I could add a start date and an end date. But what I want to do is I want to choose the order or the location of where I want this unit. So I can click on the drop-down menu, and instead of having Chapter 3 before Chapter 4, I want it before Chapter 7. So I can click on this chapter, on the chapter that says before Chapter 7, Thinking, and then I can click Save, and look how easy that was. Now my Chapter 3 on memory is down by Chapter 7. Now I will tell you that because of this, I like to rename my units. So instead of them being by chapter, I actually like to change the names to weeks. Mostly, well, for a couple reasons. One, because I do move stuff around, but two, this allows students to follow in a weekly manner, so they know in a kind of in a chronological order with the names of the week where they should be, I should say. So I could add at the excuse me. I can go back to the edit button and I can change the title. So now what I'm doing is changing the title from, oops, I should have added a week 1 there. Sorry about that. Luckily, I can change it anytime I want. So I go back and change it to week 1, Chapter 1, or I could just name it week 1 and take the Chapter 1, Discovering Yourself, or take the Chapter 1 out completely and just say week 1, Discovering Yourself. So I can do that for every single chapter. So we could have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and this way it doesn't confuse the students if you do reorder stuff. So they don't think that Chapter 6 is necessarily week 6, but rather week 5. Okay, so renaming is extremely easy as well. So let me show you now how to move an item. So here at the very beginning, at the top of the learning path, we have what's called the CSFI, which is the Course Success Factors Index. So this is kind of like a assessment, a self-assessment, kind of a survey that students take to see what their ability is, or what their thoughts are about their own abilities in college. And let's say I want to move that, instead of being at the top here, I want to move it into the introduction, because that's kind of where I want them to take the CSFI survey. So again, I click on the edit button. And towards the bottom, instead of ordering, what I want to do is I want to add it to a different location. So right now it's added to the main learning path, but from the drop-down menu, I want to add it to the introduction instead. So I click on introduction here. I click save. And now notice how from the main learning path that CSFI, excuse me, is gone. But it's not really gone. All I did was move it, and I moved it to the chapter, or to the unit on the intro. Now let's say I want to reorder this, and I want this to go on top. I want it to go on top. So again, I go to order, and I want it to go at the very top because that's the very first thing that I want them to do. And you can see that I can move it from the bottom to the top. I can move it anywhere I want, even within the unit. Okay, so even within a unit, and here's an introduction, the introduction to being a master student. Let's say there's certain things, certain activities that I don't want the students to do. Just like in the main learning path, I can also hide activities or content that is within the learning path. So let's say I wanted to hide this engagement activity. I don't want the students to do it. All I have to do, just like in the regular learning path, is go to the circle with a slash, and it is hidden. Let's say I also want to hide, at least for now, the reflection activity. I can hide that as well. And just so you see, I mean, I know I mentioned this at the beginning, that all of the content and all of the information that's within MindTap for each title is unique and specific to that title. The other thing that I want to point out is that there are icons on the left-hand side that lets you know what type of activity or content each of those things is. So, for example, here the paper with the pencil means that it's an activity where the students are going to interact with it. If it has a little play button, that means it's media, most likely a video of some sort. If you see here the icon with that looks like an open book, that's exactly what that is. If we click on this, it will take the students to the interactive ebook. If I click on this little arrow here, we can also see that there are activities that students can do. They will know whether it's assigned or not because it will be in bright orange where it says counts towards grade. So it's very intuitive, so students know exactly what they need to do and what counts for a grade and what they're going to be graded on, if you will. But the last thing that I want to tell you about the content that's within this unit, and all units for that matter, is that all of the MindTap content is introduced using Bloom's taxonomy, or the order of Bloom's taxonomy. So the lower level type activities are at the top. So we might have you know, the comprehension and the knowledge part of Bloom's taxonomy at the top, and then you go down to application, and you know, reflection is at the end. So that's another really, really, I think, great feature that has been weaved into MindTap is Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so let me show you how to add activities now. I'm going to go back to the main learning path, and let's go to Chapter 7. Since we were talking about memory and thinking, Chapters 3 and 7, let's specifically go to Chapter 7. And again, if there were things that I wanted to hide, like let's say I'm never going to do the engagement activities or reflection activities online because I'm going to do those in class, I can automatically hide them. And that moves with me, just so you know, the following semester when I create my course, all of these changes and additions that I've made will move with me, so I don't have to redo this every single semester. Let me show you how to add some content, though. Let's say you have your own activities or videos that you like that you found on YouTube, or your own web links to certain sites. You can add those as well to MindTap to customize, and you can add them either to the main learning path or within the chapter. And even though we're not going to really talk about this or show you this in this webinar, but what I love is you can also add these activities right into the interactive ebook at the point of reference, so on the page that you want it. So if there's this great video on critical thinking or problem solving, you can take that video and put it right on the page on problem solving, let's say, for example, specifically with it between the between the paragraphs that you want, or wherever you, at the bottom of the page or at the top of the page, wherever you want it. So that's another webinar in itself. So I'm just going to show you how to actually add it to the learning path. And my recommendation always is to, redundancy is great when it comes to technology and having students find things. So if you're going to add videos, I say add them to the learning path and add them to the ebook. The more places you have it, the better, and more chance that the student is going to actually find it and watch it. So let me show you again, or let me show you actually how to add content. So at the very top of the learning path here, you see a little plus sign, and that's the button that allows you to add content. So if you click on that, you see you have two options. Within a chapter or within a unit, you have two options. One is to add a folder, and one is to add an activity. So if you add a folder, obviously it would be a folder where you would actually add more things, within that folder. Let's talk about activities, since we have a limited amount of time. Let me show you how to add an activity. So when I click on Add Activity, you're going to see that there are several options that come up for you to be able to add stuff to your learning path. So the very first thing that you see are flashcards. Now, on the right-hand side over here, they're kind of grayed out right now, but there are mind apps for the students, and one of the options there is flashcards. Now, some titles have pre-made flashcards, and in fact, I think most of them have pre-made flashcards, but you, the instructor, or the students can also create or add flashcards to what's already there. You may want to take the flashcards that have already been created, or the ones that you've added to, and add them into the learning path. They're already, like I said, they're already in the Mind apps on the right-hand side, but this allows you, again, to be redundant and add it to another spot. Let's start by showing you how to add a web video. We have partnered with YouTube. It's a great partnership, and the great thing about it is that you can search for YouTube videos within MindTap and within the learning path. So in other words, you don't have to go outside of MindTap, open a new tab, click, type in YouTube, find the search button, add all that, add the information. Instead, you can open it up right in here, put in the keywords that you're looking for, click the search magnifying glass, and voila, you see that there are many options for you for critical thinking. So this is the first disclaimer that I'm going to give you. This gives you all of the videos that are in YouTube. So the thing that you need to do is definitely you need to watch the videos before you post them. Because we have not gone through these. Well, we couldn't go through them because it gives you all of them. So let's say, though, I have already seen this one, this TED Talk, critical thinking doesn't matter. So I know that I want to use it. If I want to preview it, I can click actually on the icon that's to the left. But if I know that I want to use it, I just click on the little button. I click Continue, and I love this as well. I can add content, or excuse me, text before the video, so I can write directions like, watch this video before class, on Monday. And then there's a box that allows me to add content or text after the video. So do you agree with the speaker, question mark, explain. I mean, these are just basic directions, but there's so many things that you can actually do. You could actually put the activity, directions to an activity here. So then I click continue, and I get to decide where I want the video. So let's say I want it, yeah, let's say I'll put it at the end. So I click save, and there it is. I have added a YouTube video to my learning path. I can click on it, and there is the video, and you can see that the text that I wrote is here before, and that the text that I wrote is here after as well. If I wanted to create an activity for this, I could. I could have made this a folder and added the video and then added the activity, both within the same folder, by using the plus sign and choosing folder instead. So within the folder, I could have created activity. I could have created this activity as well. Okay, so let me show you a couple other things that I can add as far as an activity goes. So let's say I wanted to add a web link activity. So I'm going to have a kind of a follow-up activity to logic. So I'm going to click on add a web link activity, and it gives me a spot to enter the URL. It also gives me a spot to add more than one link, but we're going to add one link for right now. So here is a, I don't know if you're familiar with Padlet.com. It's a great kind of a discussion, visual discussion board, and it's free. I use this a lot in my classes, where I create like a cork board, or I can create a board with a picture in the back, and the students come in and double click on the board and add their response. So let's say Lauren was going to add a response to this. She would double click, and then she would respond here and add her discussion. So it's a visual discussion board. The directions are at the top. 15 common mistakes in logic. Choose one of the 15 mistakes of logic from section 7.5 in our book and give an example of a mistake in logic that you have made or it's happened to you. So I love this because it's critical thinking. I mean, we're talking about critical thinking and such, but we're also making them think critically by using real-life examples. So I can take this address that was created when I created this Padlet activity, and then I could put it, copy and paste it right in here. And just like the video, I can put text before and text after, so I can give them direction and instruction. I click save. I want this at the end, so I click save, and voila. So here's the video that I added from YouTube, and here is the Padlet activity that I just created or added as well. So you can see that I've added a video, I've added a web link activity. Let me show you that I can also add an RSS feed. So there are many RSS feeds for many different disciplines and topics, and critical thinking is one of them. So here we have Critical Thinker. It is it's a blog for the most part, but there's also an RSS feed. So I can click on the comments here, and you know that. Sorry, let me back up. For those of you that don't know what an RSS feed is, basically an RSS feed is, it could be a blog. It could be you see a lot of RSS feeds with professional organizations where if someone comments on something, the whole group will get the blog or the email. Sometimes it's like in an email type format. or comments. So I'm going to click comments here. I copy the URL. I go back, and when I put in the address for the RSS feed, when I click on the feed title, it automatically populates it. So what this does is, when the students click on this, when they click on it in the learning path, it will show, at least the default will show the last 10 feeds, the last 10 responses or posts to that feed, and you can change it to 20 or 25 or whatever you want. Just like the video and the activity, the web links, you can add text before, text after. Click Save, and again, I could put this at the end. I'm putting these in the order that I would probably want them to have it. So now, video, web activity. Now when I click on the RSS feed, I want you to notice that it gives the last 10 posts. So here are the last 10 comments on this RSS feed. So this is awesome. RSS feeds are great, again, for professional organizations. So depending on your discipline, you know, you might want to add an RSS feed once so students are informed with very, very current topics. They're great to use for the students to find research topics or also research resources and such. So let me just go over a couple of the other things that are in the activity section and some of the things that you can do along with the flashcards, the RSS feed, the web search activities. You can take some of the homework that's already created in the ebook. Let's say you want to move it. That's what these two things are. These are activities that have already been created, and you can add them in the learning path as well. I showed you the web link activity by using, Padlet. LAMS is a way to create your own discussion forums in here. If there are assessments that are already within this MindTap, which obviously there are, you could also create non-MindTap activities. But the one that I want to focus on is, for these last few minutes, is adding your own content. So there's a button called My Content, and we've partnered with two other third-party, very popular companies and apps, and that is Google Drive and Kaltura. And they're very similar. This allows you to link your Google Drive with MindTap so that if you upload something in Google Drive somewhere else, it'll show up here. But you could also add your own content or upload your own content. So when I click on Google Drive, you will see that there are a spot here that allows you to upload different things. So I can clear this show field files that are shared with students because nothing has been shared, and I can you can see that I have content here for that I can upload. So the very first thing that I want to do is, or what I want to add, and a perfect activity for critical thinking is this Rate My Professor activity. So I can click, I can choose it. I can click Share and Continue. I can, just like everything else, add text before and after. So this is an activity that is great for critical thinking. Once I've added the text that I want, I can put it wherever I want. So now this is the activity that they're going to do as a culmination to all of this information that they have. So they can click on the Rate My Professor activity. They can make it bigger. They can print it out, do whatever they want. But the main thing is that I've added it to my learning path. Okay, so last thing is, let me show you the Kaltura. Go back to my content. Again, Kaltura is a similar, it works in the same fashion as Google Drive, except that Google Drive will be your documents, your Word documents, spreadsheets, PDF files, PowerPoints. Kaltura is video, and images. So these would be videos that you've created and uploaded, or it could be pictures, images. So the other thing is if you want to upload, you can upload them from here, or if you don't know how to create your own videos elsewhere, you can actually create your own lectures or your own intros or your own videos right here by clicking on Capture. So right here, you click on critical thinking, so I'm going to add this activity or this video of myself, and I click Continue. It's going to be shared, yes. And now I'm going to add this video right to my Learning tab. I click Save. This one I want, let's say I want this one before the learning engagement. So this is kind of an intro to critical thinking that I've done. And when I click on it in the learning path, now that I've added it, there it is, and the students can play it. So I could rename it, like if I want to say Intro from Professor. So it's not so vague. I can add a start date and end date. I click Save, and I mean, notice how easy everything has been for me to do. I mean, everything has been 1, 2, or 3 clicks at the most. You don't have to go to a settings area. You don't have to go to a control panel. You do everything right from the learning path. So that's one of the great things about MindTap is, you know, like I said, it's ready to use if you want it, but for those of you who want to personalize it, add your own touch to it, make it your own, it's extremely easy to do that. So you can, like I said, and like I showed you, you can hide items, you can move items, you can reopen items, you can add activities. There's so much that you could do within MindTap, and it's so easy to do it that, you know, it's definitely for me a no-brainer to use MindTap. It's a great resource. So that is the time that I have and the few things that I wanted to show you. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Lauren. And while Lauren is finishing up, I'm going to go through the chat and see if there's any questions. And if there are, see if I can answer any of those questions. If not, like Lauren said, we'll go ahead and answer those questions after the session, depending on how much time we have, whether we'll answer them now, okay? All right, Lauren, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. That was awesome. Yeah, if anyone, we haven't had questions yet, so now's a great time to ask them in the chat box, and then Greg and I can get back to you in that. Greg, scroll to the top. Yeah.
Stop sharing. Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, I'm sharing my PowerPoint soon. Let's see. Okay. Greg, can you see that?
I can. Yep.
Okay, so I hope everything that Greg said, you can use this for your course. You can customize in MindTap. So in fall of 2014, Cengage Learning conducted a survey, and they found that students spend 50% more time working in MindTap if it counts for at least 20% of their grade. And another thing we found, which is very applicable to this presentation, was that students are 70% more likely to use MindTap for at least 1 hour per week if the learning path is customized. So perfect stats for today. If you customize your course which is what Greg just showed you, then your students are 70% more likely to use MindTap for at least 1 hour per week. So just making sure that they get in there would be great. So this is our digital course support website, and the link is up there at the top of the screen. So here you're going to find some self-training videos, so for yourself and your students, some webinars that we have, the recordings will be there, and then also user guides, so how to use MindTap, and they also have LMS, which is Learning Management System. So if you have an LMS at your school, you can also look up guides for that, for MindTap. So again, you are going to receive a link to the recording of this webinar after this is over, and the digital course support website for MindTap is up there and for your additional resources. And we want to promote the next webinar in this series, and it's called Multiply Engagement with Multimedia. And that's going to be on Thursday, January 21st at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time.